a nation is defined geographically by its borders.
Okay.
The most basic right that defines a political community is the right to define who is part of it and who is not part of it. You think that the American people have the right to enforce the laws duly passed by Congress to have their own borders and define who's in the country?
I think
yes or no?
Hold on. No, because I think it's a dishonest premise.
It's a simple
There
question.
are so many laws.
Hold on 1 second. I'm going to bet you in the front row $20. I'm going to bet you right now $20 that he will not answer my question.
I'm going to answer your question.
Hold on. You don't want to take that bet. All right, that's fair enough.
No. I'm going to answer your question.
We deport the illegals.
I disagree with the premise of the question.
$20, buddy.
No,
Thank you.
I believe. No.
Easiest money I ever made.
No. I believe.
Actually, that might be the.
I believe we should
blank book was the easiest.
For a felon, I don't care. You voted for a felon. You can't talk about them being undocumented and breaking a law if you voted for a felon.
Yeah. Also, Michael.
Right, you right there. I see you.
Really quickly.
You voted
he's trying to
for
save his
a
buddy's
criminal.
money.
No. I do want to point out to your point. You said it's a simple yes or no question.
You voted for a criminal. You talk about them breaking the law. You don't care about Donald Trump being a convicted.
Look, I know you guys have seen plenty of debates about illegal immigration, but what you're about to watch is honestly one of the most satisfying examples of what happens when someone who knows what they're doing goes up against a guy who's been coached by Democratic operatives to never actually answer a question. Michael Knowles is about to put on an absolute masterclass here, and Harry Sisson, dude, Harry's going to tie himself in knots trying to avoid saying yes or no to the simplest question in American politics. Should we deport illegal aliens? Watch how long it takes him to answer that. Like, genuinely, watch. Michael's gonna bet $20 mid-debate that Harry won't answer it. And spoiler, Michael wins that bet. This is what happens when you try to dance around basic questions because your handlers told you nuance polls better than honesty. Let's get into it.
But even if it were stolen, we would deport the illegals just the same. So Billie Eilish makes a claim at the Grammys.
Yeah.
She says no one is illegal on stolen land, which is not true. It's not true because if you're on stolen land and you murder somebody, that's still illegal. That's still a crime. You can't murder people or rape people, even if it's stolen land. But the second reason that her claim was false is that America is not stolen land by any measure, any way that we think of international law or history in anything resembling a global standard. By that standard, America is not stolen. So before I even go on with my diatribe, you guys are relatively more moderate, slightly more reasonable, maybe. Do you think America is stolen land?
I think two things. I think that the phrase no one is illegal on stolen land shouldn't be. I think it's an issue when you take it so literally. I think the point is that obviously America was founded on, or we were all immigrants. We came over here.
We were not all immigrants.
Hold on. Let me finish.
So I just disagree with that premise.
Okay. We're all immigrants. We traveled over here. We killed a bunch of people. We took land. I mean, all land is technically stolen land. All countries were founded.
I don't agree with that.
Hold on. All countries were founded on some amount of sin. I think the more important point of this is that I don't understand to the latter half why the demonization of illegal immigrants. The point of the phrase...
It's not a demonization. We just want to enforce the law.
Okay, but why? You still haven't answered that question from earlier. Why?
Because it's the law.
Okay, but there's a lot of laws we don't enforce. Hold on.
We should enforce them.
Okay, well, there's a lot that we don't. Give me why do you believe, besides it just being a law, it should be enforced?
Because I'll answer that if you'd like me to.
Please.
Because a nation is defined geographically by its borders.
Okay.
The most basic right that defines a political community is the right to define who is part of it and who is not part of it. So it is beyond the laws passed by Congress that are supposed to be enforced by the executive, that are upheld by the judiciary. It is a basic tenet of any political community that you get to determine who's in and who's out. If we do not enforce that most basic law, we would cease in any meaningful sense to be a political community. Both parties agreed on that until very recently.
I don't believe that there's anybody advocating for not, at some level, enforcing immigration law.
You don't think anyone's advocating open borders?
I don't think there is. I don't think that there's a single prominent Democrat.
No one's saying that no one is illegal on stolen land.
Hold on, no. But the second point of this is that everybody believes that at some level we should have better immigration reform. We're just going to disagree about how to do that.
Should we deport the illegals?
But hold on, no, because the point there is that
no. There you go. Then I guess we.
No. Hold on. I believe that undocumented individuals in the United States are generally a net benefit currently for the American people. No, people are going to laugh. The Cato, hold on. The Cato Institute.
The Cato Institute.
It's a right-wing think tank. Let me point this out.
It's a libertarian think tank.
Okay. The Cato
Which
Institute
is-
this week released a study that since from 1994 to now, undocumented people have paid the federal government roughly $10 trillion in taxes.
Wow, that's I think it's a gazillion.
Hold on,
actually.
hold on. $10 trillion in taxes, and they have used benefits from the U.S. government of about $6 trillion. That's a $4 trillion surplus,
Yeah.
and they analyzed why economically are they a net benefit.
Yeah.
For several-
Libertarians like open borders,
Hold on,
and
hold on.
especially
It's
the
not-
Cato
no, no, no,
Institute.
no, no, no.
Those
It's-
numbers are wrong. But even
Why are they wrong?
Why do you think they're wrong?
Because they actually are net takers. And if you don't want to look
they're
at the
not-
Cato Institute,
I don't
you can
believe-
look at the Center
I
for
don't-
Immigration
I
Studies.
don't
One is
believe that they're-
pro-mass migrant, one is anti-mass migrant. But it's evading the question because we're talking about the law. Do you think that the American people have the right to enforce the laws duly passed by
Yes,
Congress to have their
but
own borders and define who's in the country?
I think.
Yes or no?
Hold on. No,
And you
no,
won't answer it.
because I think it's a dishonest premise.
It's a simple
There are
question.
so many laws.
But
Two
it's the
things. I
hypocrisy.
think that we should.
I'm not asking about so many laws. I'm asking about this
Look,
one.
can I just say something really quick?
Can you answer the question?
Right now in the United States, we do not have enough native-born. I'm just giving one example before you
Yeah, yeah.
speak. We do not have enough native-born U.S. citizens to work every single job. If every single undocumented person right now was deported this instant,
I'm going to bet.
Hold on.
Excuse me,
let-
1 second.
hold
I'm
on.
going to bet you in the front row $20. I'm going to bet you right now $20 that he will not answer my question.
I'm going
You
to
wanna
answer
take
your
that
question.
bet?
Hold
No, you
on.
don't want-
no,
you don't wanna take
no,
that bet. All right,
no,
that's fair enough.
no,
Okay.
no. I'm going to answer your
take that bet
question.
as well.
I'm going to.
I'll take it.
right.
I'm going to take the opposite. He's going to answer it.
Okay,
You're going
as
to
a
owe me
matter of
$20.
law.
I will just please quickly. Again, there's clearly like that example I just gave. If every undocumented person was deported from the United States tomorrow, our economy, just as one example, would fall apart overnight.
Simple question. Should we enforce the law and deport the illegals?
I'm going to
You
answer the
promised me
question.
that for about
Hold on.
6 minutes now. Yeah.
It's very clear that in the current setup of the United States, we should allow undocumented people to have a process to get
Citizenship.
legal immigration status, and we should pass immigration reform to increase security at the border and make it easier to get into the United States legally. I think the premise, the
Will
answer
you
to your
answer
question,
my question or
I
no? You're
believe,
gonna owe me 20
no,
bucks.
no,
And
no,
I'm
no,
gonna
no,
love
no,
that. And I'm
You
gonna
got
love
my
it.
Venmo Cash App, buddy. I got you.
The answer is that we should enforce laws in a civil way. And currently,
The civil way is to enforce them. It's
no,
called the civil law.
I disagree. And there's so many.
It's literally what it's called. It's called the civil law.
There's so many good examples of U.S. laws that we don't enforce all the time.
Yeah, yeah. Will you answer my question, or is Harry paying me $20?
What is
Should we deport the illegals?
I disagree with the premise of the question.
$20, buddy.
No,
Thank
that's
you.
not- I believe-
Thank you.
No.
Easiest money I ever made.
No. I believe.
Actually, that might be the
I believe we
the
should
blank book
support.
was easy.
Okay, so I need you guys to understand what just happened here, because this is the entire playbook the left uses on immigration, and Michael just demolished it in real time. Harry Sisson literally could not answer the most basic question a politician can be asked about immigration. Should we deport illegal aliens? Yes or no? And he danced around it for 6 minutes. 6 minutes. Michael even made a bet, $20, that Harry wouldn't answer the question. And what happened? Easiest money Michael ever made. Because Harry can't answer it. He physically cannot say yes or no, because both answers destroy his entire worldview. If he says yes, deport the illegals, his progressive base loses their minds. If he says no, don't deport them, then he's admitting Democrats want open borders, and he loses every swing voter in America. So instead, he does this thing where he talks about nuance and pathways to citizenship, and we need immigration reform, which is just code for we're never actually going to enforce the law. We're just going to pretend we care about borders while doing absolutely nothing. And notice how he tried to pivot to that Cato Institute study? $10 trillion in taxes paid by illegals since 1994? Dude, the Cato Institute is a libertarian think tank that wants open borders. Of course they're going to put out a study saying illegals are a net benefit. That's like asking Ben & Jerry's if ice cream is good for you. Like, what do you think they're going to say? And even if that number were real, which it's not, because illegals use far more in services than they pay in taxes when you factor in education, healthcare, law enforcement, housing assistance. But even if it were true, we're talking about the law. We're talking about sovereignty. Michael made the most important point of this entire debate, and Harry just ignored it.
A nation is defined by its borders. The most basic function of any government is deciding who gets to be part of the political community and who doesn't. If you don't enforce that, you don't have a country. You have a geographic area where people show up and do whatever they want. That's not a nation, that's chaos.
And then Harry tries the "you voted for a felon" line, like that's some kind of gotcha. Dude, Trump was convicted in a kangaroo court in New York for misdemeanor bookkeeping errors that the statute of limitations had expired on, which they upgraded to felonies using a legal theory that had never been used before in American history, presided over by a judge whose daughter works for Democratic campaigns. You're really going to compare that to someone breaking into the country illegally? Come on, man. One is a political prosecution. The other is an actual crime that every country on earth enforces. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about that Cato Institute stat, because I'm telling you right now, that number is cooked. There's no way illegals are a $4 trillion surplus when we're spending billions on sanctuary cities alone.
No. I believe.
Actually, that might be the
I believe we
the
should
blank
deport.
book was the easiest money I ever made. That was a little harder.
Hold on.
Actually,
I believe we should deport undocumented individuals who have committed violent crimes. Yes. That is
Should
my
we
take.
deport the illegals? Yes
No,
or no?
I think.
No,
wait,
I
it's a
no
no.
is an
But wait,
answer,
that
and
is
I would
that
have
is
to
an
give
answer.
you
20
$20
bucks
now.
now. I
But
believe.
Michael, I can't figure it out.
It's a more nuanced topic.
We should
right?
deport undocumented people who have committed violent crimes. Yes.
So,
I
on
think
the
there are a
general
lot.
question-
I think there are a lot of undocumented immigrants in this country
I'm
who have lived
asking
here.
a general question.
Hold on,
I'm
they've
not
lived-
asking that question.
I don't think your general question is in
asking-
good faith.
It is in good faith.
It's not in
It's a
good
simple
faith.
question.
But
It's a
Michael,
more
nuanced
Democrats
topic.
agreed with until like 5 minutes ago.
You would concede
guys,
that
it's
there's
simple, but I don't want you to think I'm stealing your $20. Should
Oh my God.
You
should
owe me
we
20 bucks, I already
deport? Should we deport the illegal aliens in America?
He just answered
yes
it.
or no?
I don't.
Yes or no?
I just answered
just
your question.
answered it.
Yes or no?
Wait,
I
Michael,
don't believe.
$20.
No,
buddy.
oh my God.
Okay, we
I don't
gotta
think
move
the
on.
answer is
We
yes
gotta
or
move
no.
on.
Mike, it's a nuanced question, right?
not.
Yes,
It's
it
a
is.
simple question. It's
Because
very
I
blunt.
think
Bill
you might.
Clinton knew how to answer it.
I think you
Barack
might find-
Obama, even when he
Yeah,
ran,
but
knew how to answer
Wait,
it.
I think you
Until he
might find
undermined
some
it.
people in here who would agree that somebody who's been here for 30 years has
Hey
never
guys,
committed
should we
a crime.
deport the illegals? Pretty easy.
Wait, Mike, you didn't let me finish. I think you might find, maybe not in here, I don't know, but Republicans generally, you might find some people who argue and would agree with me that if you've been here for like 30 years, you've paid your taxes, you've never committed a violent crime, even if you have a speeding ticket, whatever.
Rules have exceptions, hard cases make bad
given
law.
back
Yeah.
to your community, why would we deport that person instead of giving them a pathway to citizenship? If they're giving back to America, which is exactly what we want from immigrants, why would we deport them?
Because it's the law.
You voted
and they
for a
broke
felon.
it.
I don't care. You voted for a felon. You can't talk about them being undocumented and breaking the law if you voted for a felon.
Yeah. Also, Michael.
Right,
Really,
you right there. I see you.
really quickly.
You
He's
voted
trying to
for
save his
a
buddy's
criminal.
money.
No,
I'm not
no.
gonna
I
let
do
him.
want to point
You
out
vo-
to your point. You said it's a simple yes or no question.
You voted for a criminal. You talk about them breaking the law. You don't care about Donald
I
Trump
want
being
to
a
point out,
convicted
Harry
felon.
has not had one
Come on.
sip of his tequila,
Yeah,
and he is
'cause I-
belligerent right now. He is belligerent. Okay, we need to figure out. Do we have another question at the mic? We do. Okay.
Really quickly. Sorry, Michael.
You're not getting his money.
I
back.
just want to point
You're
out.
not
I
in the
just
bank.
want to point out. Even Obama had a nuanced take on this. His take.
Well, eventually he
regardless,
undermined his
Hold on.
earlier take, yeah.
Regardless of how, let's say, Obama's immigration policy was enforced, he obviously had a setup where he wanted to only be focusing on people within like 100 miles of the border because he believed that if you were within 100 miles of the border, you just came across the United States. He believed we should focus on criminals. But if you were, let's say, in Minnesota, for example, and you were undocumented, it was far more likely that you were here with a family, you had built a life. And so he first wanted to focus on within 100 miles of the border. So if
No,
you
but
asked,
you know what I
if
remember?
you asked, if
you
you
know
asked,
what I remember
if
from
you,
Obama? Just
hold
in
on,
answering your point.
If you
Obama
asked,
said that executive amnesty would be unconstitutional, and then he did it anyway. So I remember, you're right, he did have nuanced views in as much as they contradicted themselves. Yeah.
okay, to your question of should we deport the illegals, even Obama would say that's a dishonest framing
What
of
did
the
Bill
question.
Clinton say?
It's a nuanced
What did
nuanced question.
Bill
It's not
Clinton think
yes
was
or no.
We don't care what Bill Clinton
I don't know.
We
I
don't
don't
care
care.
what Bill
Yeah.
Clinton said.
You
We're
know,
different.
I was
We're a
born in-
different
I was
party
born
now.
in 2002. Like I don't
We
care
don't care
about
what Bill
Bill
Clinton said. We're a
Too
different party now. We have a nuanced take
Different
that would
party.
help
You
the
guys
United
nominated
States.
Hillary less than 10 years ago.
Yeah, I would argue that Hillary in 2016 was different than Bill Clinton in his presidency. Hillary Clinton was not calling for social services to be defunded. But we in the Democratic Party have a nuanced view of immigration that is far better for the United States than you, who is just like, should we deport everybody or not? It's
Your
not an
view is
it's not an absolute. It's
Only
not absolute.
enforce the law when I want to. That's no.
It's
what
not-
happened to no kings?
You voted for a convicted
No
felon.
kings.
You voted.
All right, so let me just summarize what we just watched because this was an absolute clinic. Michael Knowles asked Harry Sisson the simplest yes or no question in politics. Should we deport illegal aliens? And Harry couldn't answer it. Flat out could not do it. He tried every single trick in the book. He pivoted to economics, he pivoted to nuance, he pivoted to Trump being a felon, he talked about people who've been here 30 years, he talked about violent criminals, he talked about Obama's immigration policy. Dude threw everything at the wall trying to avoid saying yes or no. And Michael just sat there, calm as could be, and made him look like a complete amateur. Because here's the thing. And I know you guys already know this. The Democratic Party cannot be honest about immigration. They can't. If they admit they want to deport illegals, they lose the activist base. If they admit they don't want to deport illegals, they lose everyone else. So they do this dance where they pretend they care about border security while simultaneously fighting every single enforcement measure Republicans propose. They'll fund sanctuary cities. They'll give illegals driver's licenses, healthcare, in-state tuition. They'll refuse to cooperate with ICE. But then they'll turn around and say we're not for open borders. It's the most dishonest position in American politics. In Harry's generation, these young progressive activists who grew up getting participation trophies and being told their feelings matter more than facts, they genuinely don't understand that you can't have a country without borders. They think it's mean. They think it's racist. They think enforcing the law is somehow un-American because we're a nation of immigrants. Except we're not all immigrants. The founders weren't immigrants. They built a country. There's a difference between building a civilization and showing up after it's already built and demanding free stuff. Michael won this debate so decisively it's almost embarrassing. He made Harry look like exactly what he is, a kid who's been given talking points by Democratic operatives and has no idea how to defend them when someone actually pushes back. The second Michael started pressing him, Harry fell apart. And that $20 bet? That was just Michael twisting the knife. He knew Harry wouldn't answer. Everyone watching knew Harry wouldn't answer. And Harry proved him right. So here's my question for you guys, and drop this in the comments because I'm genuinely curious. Do you think Harry actually believes the stuff he's saying? Or do you think he's just a grifter who figured out he can make a career out of being the young progressive voice online? Because I've seen this exact playbook so many times. These kids show up, they parrot Democratic talking points, they get retweeted by all the right people, they build a following, and then they cash in. Book deals, speaking gigs, consulting contracts. It's the same grift every time. Let me know what you think. And look, if you enjoyed watching Michael absolutely dismantle this argument, make sure you hit that like button, share this with someone who needs to see it, and subscribe to MB because we break down these debates and show you exactly what's going on behind the narrative. The mainstream media won't show you this stuff. They'll clip it, they'll edit it, they'll spin it. We give you the full context. Stay sharp. I'll see you in the next one.